Hey everybody, it's me, Liv. So today I'm going to be bringing you a project. I recently bought this paper at AC Moore. It's called Die Cut with a View, and it's called Preserved Papers. So there is just a really gorgeous selection of papers here. They're all double-sided, which is always my preference, with the note print. It's got gold foil on it, lots of different beautiful shades, and some cutouts and things that we can use already. So I'm going to be using this paper for a project. Now this idea came to me when I recently just bought something that was on clearance. It is the clear rubber stamp that was created with Tim Holtz in Tonic Studio, and we use this for positioning and doing stamp work. Now for those who probably know, Mitzi came out initially with the original version of this, and sued many of the other people who had made something that was similar and won the challenge. So you'll find these types of things maybe on clearance on different places. So I did find this on clearance since it's not supposed to be sold anymore. And it actually came in this really cool craft box. I've already kind of started working on it, but as you can see, it kind of came right in here. And when it came out, I said, this is really cool to do a shadow box with instead of just, throwing it away. So that's kind of what I started with. All these papers are from the preserved paper that you see as here as a base. I used a gold doily here. So tonight we're just going to walk through some of the project as I continue to do a couple of more embellishments on it, as well as show you some ideas I have on what I'm going to be doing to decorate it. So I cut these pieces for the sides, and then I just edged them with some brown ink, and I'm going to use that to cover here. Now I'm going to do that all around all the sides, and then on the outer sides as well. Now for a project like this, I really don't mind the craft showing. I think it looks kind of cool. So that is why, though most of it covers, I really don't mind that there is some craft paper showing. Now these strips, like I said, are cut at 12 inches long, so I didn't need to cut that part of it. And they are a 3/4 inch width for this particular project. I do think edging on the sides really just kind of gives it a nice finished look. So that is why I like to do it that way. And then I'm just taping it down. Now, I'm not really sure at this point whether or not I'm going to cut this out. I haven't made that final decision. I think I'm going to wait and see what the final project looks like and decide if I want to get rid of it or not. So here's where I just kind of trim things off. Art glitter glue, because that's really what's going to hold it up here. I really do love this glue, and it's time for me to order some new ones. So for the sides of this particular one, it's going to be a one inch. And one of the things I particularly always love about double-sided paper is the fact that it's double-sided. So you really can stretch paper, I feel, a lot further when you have that. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape these down. They are going to be a little short because the sides are longer, but that's okay. I will find a way to cover up the edges as well. And for right now, I'm just going to do these 3 sides until I decide what it is that I want to do with that top part. Again, same kind of concept. I went ahead and inked all the edges. Just think it gives it a much more finished look when you do that. And I'm going to put a little bit more art glitter right underneath here as well. Make sure it all stays down good. Now, some of the embellishments I've already started doing some work on before I did this video, because I wanted to be able to give you some ideas of kind of what I was thinking and show you kind of how I do it. So for right now, I am going to leave that as is, and I'm not going to go all the way to the edge until I figure out what it is that I want to do. So for some of the embellishments, and I'm just going to move this to the side for a sec, that I was working on is I have a lot of chipboard that I kind of forgotten about over time, and I thought that I would go ahead and do something with it. So one of them is this bird style one. What I did is I took and covered it with double-sided adhesive. This is from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And one side sticks to it, and then you lift the other side, and then it's adhesive. Then what I'm going to do is, whenever I'm working with glitter, coffee filter, which is my go-to, I'm going to sprinkle a bunch here. Try to get it all over the adhesive. Tap out the extra. Oh, I need some on my tail. Need some on the face, on the beak. And then with this particular fine glitter, which I also got from Elizabeth Craft, you just rub it in. And it kind of varnishes it. I always forget the correct terminology, onto the tape underneath so that it won't lift up at all. And I don't know if it's just me, but I find like when we do this too, it just seems to sparkle even more. So you see this beautiful sparkly bird that we now have. Now the other thing I like about using coffee filters, for those who haven't, it's a much simpler way to clean up and not waste so much of your extra fine glitter. So that's one of the embellishments I'm going to be using on here. Now there's a couple of different companies who do sell the thing, the double-sided adhesive tape. So you can feel free to use whichever one you'd like. All pretty much the same concept. But what I do like is, and this is a non-glittered finger if you can see it, once it's varnished on, it does a good job of keeping most of it there so it doesn't lift up constantly. You'll still get some on your finger, but you'll see it's a very small amount in compared to how much glitter is on there. So I'm going to be using that as well. The other thing I did is I had a piece of chipboard that I just kind of had in my stash. I went ahead and covered it with cardstock, so you can see the chipboard back here. Put a doily on here, which I'm still working on putting everything together. Then I took some embellishments from within the paper pack. This was on one of the cards. I'm going to use this tag, and I'm going to use this one, which is also part of the paper, and mount it there. So let's tape all this down. Oh. And a new one. And then I also had used one of my butterfly dies and went ahead and cut this out. I covered it a little bit, and I don't know if you can see it, with the what we call extra thick of the embossing powder, so it creates like a glass finish on top of it. So I put that on there. And again, took a piece of cardstock that I had. So I'm just going to show you. I put this here. Actually, I'm going to let it hang right here. And let me glue down that button. Since I didn't have it glued down. Because I want some dimension to it, I'm going to put a some Pop-Tarts foam stick on the back of it so I can stand up a little more. That's going to go then in one of the corners of the frame. The other thing I'm trying to utilize is I have a ton of these white chipboard swirls that I've had in my stash. So I want to paint this one up so that I can use it. And you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to stamp it up. So what I'm going to use to color it up is, you've probably seen some of the green that's coming out of here. So this is the Memento Dewdrops, the pistachio color. Get out one of my sponges. Let's see if I can sponge it up. Now the only reason, and you can do it directly, again, if you wanted to, like that. I'm trying to stay away from that glitter so I don't get it permanently on my pad. Now for me, I am going to go all around the edges because I don't want to see that white that was the original base to come through. Now with chipboard, there's these, whatever base color it is, there's lots of things you can do with it. I'm going to have another swirl that comes out the other side. There's going to be a centerpiece in there, but that's going to be another video because that's another technique I'm going to be using. And then I have these two white chipboard corner pieces, which I think I'm going to take out some of my gold paint and paint up. Now, of course, with most paint, they start settling, so you're going to see all that juice. This is one that I use a lot for mixed media, so it works very well. Super goldish. It's just one of the things I love about it. Everything's always sparkly after you use that. I'm just going to pick it up so you can see just how gold this particular paint is, and one of the many reasons why I love it when you're going for a gold effect. So I'm going to just do all the edges, make sure no white is coming through. That. So I'm going to take my box back out. And so this is what I was talking about as to what I'm going to do. So this one is going to be in one of these corners over here. So you can see kind of where it lies. Then the centerpiece, and I'll just show you now, even though it's, again, we're going to see what I'm going to do with this in a second. So you're going to envision that this is an elevated part. It's going to be right here in the center, okay? So I'm just going to put there for placement purposes as we get everything kind of glued down. So I'm going to have one that comes out like this. And then one that comes like this under here. Now again, because this is completely your own project, if you were to make something like this, you put things wherever you want things to be. I'm going to have one of the birds sit right here. Then I have a bunch of wood embellishments throughout. This is going to be a title right up here. And I'll put a butterfly right there in the corner. So these corner pieces will end up going right here. And I think I'm going to put another one right up here. As well. So now that I kind of see where everything is going to be going, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing things down. The one thing I'm not going to glue down right now is the center wood piece because, like I said, that is it's going to be a more complicated project, and you'll see that in a second of what I'm thinking of putting in the middle. Video number 2. So that's going to be right there. Just get everything else glued down where I'd like it. if you're wondering what glue I'm using, I am using my art glitter glue to kind of hold all this down. I find with the nice small detail pieces, it really does work very well. Now again, you can embellish everything as much as you want, as much color as you may want on it. For me right now, I am content with pops of the brown on here. Okay. The other thing I did is use my butterfly die and made some little mini butterflies that are going to go throughout this project as well. One of the other reasons I really love the Luxe paint is it dries super fast. Already dry. So when you're working with items that like this in a project like this, it's great to be able to quickly dry off so you can put things down in your corners or wherever it is that you're going to be putting it down. I think what I am going to do now that I'm looking at this is I am going to come back later and put paper on the inside as well. I think that would be very helpful. And let me glue down this butterfly. I absolutely adore butterflies. So I have a lot of different butterfly items in my stash. Probably do some flowers here and there to glue them down so you can see what I'm thinking here. I think what I'm going to do for the edges, now that I've thought about it a little bit, is utilize more of these gold doilies that I have. I'm going to show you what I mean. So with the gold doily, I can make like a corner piece, and I'm going to show you. So if you were to turn this, and I'm going to take this wood piece out because this is not glued down yet for what's the other project. So if you were to turn this and you put it here, you get a really nice corner piece that you can utilize, and let's see if you can see that. So I'm going to trim this up a little bit so that you can do that, but I think that's how I'm going to seal all my and cover all my corners here. So at first I think I was going to cut this, but now that I think about it, I think I'm just going to try to fold it over and create a faux gilded edge on this. And I'm going to do that on all the corners. So again, if you want to see how I do it, you're going to take this, you're going to pretty much in the middle, line it up here, line it up on that side, and then fold it over. And there's another one. I have to get one more tray of my stash. When I got these, to be quite honest, I had no idea what I was going to do with them. I am, first of all, not a huge doily user, and second of all, this gold was kind of killing me, how bright it was. But I'm actually really excited now because I've actually found lots of creative ways to use this doily. And it is definitely very, very pretty. Very shiny. I'm just doing the very last corner. So, ta-da! You can kind of see how the gold corners came out. How cool is that with the doilies over there on those sides? Just an idea of ways you can use them. You can also do what I'm about to do, is just maybe put some flowers over here in the corner edges as well. Really complements what's going on. Again, the art glitter glue affords you the opportunity to move things. Once it's set, it sets fantastically, but it does take a minute or two to set, which is actually okay with me. Because if something needs to be repositioned, you have just a little bit of time to make sure that gets done. All right, so that is pretty much what I'm going to do for the base of this project. And next up, I will do a separate video, so this one won't be tremendously too long, on what is going to be on this wood centerpiece. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Think of different ways that you can actually use items that you have, boxes that we get, and upcycle them a little bit. All right, talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.